There are many mysteries surrounding the future of the Kingdom Hearts series. Among those mysteries, however, I am constantly pondering just one in particular. Who will we see return in future games from among the pre-existing cast? Today, we will be building our rosters for who I believe is likely to come back and for what reason, with a little game I like to call the Quadratum Roster. For today, we will be strictly talking about Kingdom Hearts original characters because Final Fantasy and Disney are their own kinds of complicated, and in addition to that, we will be breaking down our roster into 4 categories. In Category D, we have characters that I believe are completely finished and have completed their roles in the series to their fullest, with almost 0% chance of ever returning. I say almost 0 because this is Kingdom Hearts, and you never say never when it's Kingdom Hearts. Category C are for people that may briefly appear in a cutscene or two if the plot demands it, but will overall not be all that important. Category B is reserved for individuals who I believe will have some kind of major or minor story significance in cutscenes or even as party members. And last but certainly not least is Category A, for the ones who will have the ultimate spotlight and are almost undeniably going to return, and even possibly in the form of playable characters. Now that you understand all of that, you can understand that this video is already quite the major undertaking. After all, there are so many characters in the series already, and keeping track of what everyone's up to and what the role will be is, well, an undertaking. So if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button and the big red subscribe button next to it, I would really greatly appreciate it. It helps out the algorithm know that this video is awesome, which gives the channel that sweet ad revenue, and it would definitely help me pay my wonderful editor Minel even just a little bit better. So do it for him, if anything. But enough panhandling, let's get down to business. First off, let's start with the 13 Darknesses as they were by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Not the original lineup of Kingdom Hearts 2, because we already know that Dylan, Alias, Ienzo, and Evan have been reduced to lab assistants and guards for Ansem the Wise, who, by the way, does seem to know a lot about Unreality. So maybe, if anything, we will briefly see them in some cutscenes in the future, and with that, these guys are going into Category C. Larxene and Marluxia will certainly have some kind of major roles because of their newly discovered backstories in Union Cross and the Keyblade legacy that Xemnas alluded to in Kingdom Hearts 3. They will likely also be returning to their completed forms as Elrena and Lauriam, and there is bound to be some kind of drama between him and another character we will be talking about later on. So, you know their reappearance is going to be juicy. They're going into Category B. Likewise, I will be placing Luxord and Demyx into the same tier.
Yes! Demyx time!
Not much is known about our favorite sitar player, but it's recently come to my attention that more about him will be revealed in Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, which is just another reason to be really excited for that game, and in case Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind didn't already make it perfectly clear with all of his additional scenes, Luxord is definitely going to be a major player in the future. From the ominous wildcard he gave to Sora to being Yazora's Uber driver.
Impressive, is it not?
He is definitely on my list of characters I'm most interested to learn more about. Ansem the Seeker of Darkness and Xemnas are both going into the D category. Honestly, these two halves of Xehanort both went out like absolute G's. Their dying words are forever immortalized as some of the best written lines in the series, and I'd honestly hate it if they brought them back for anything more than a flashback. Just think about it. Riku and Ansem had their closure, and Xemnas finally accepted the human part of himself. Their endings were perfect. Let's not tarnish them. Similarly, let's leave Old Man Xehanort and his counterpart Ericus alone. It was another satisfying conclusion with the two of them making peace with one another by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Dark Road did, of course, make me wish we had gotten more of them, but it would honestly just be such a shame to bring them back for anything more than a name drop. No matter how tempting it might be to bring them back since Quadratum is an afterlife for the characters of this universe, let's just leave them be. And before I forget, Replica Riku is of course finished in the same way. They got the glowy stuff surrounding them instead of simply fading into darkness like the rest did. They've had their closure with the real bona fide Riku, and now peace is restored to the galaxy. There's only one Riku left in existence. Now if only we could sort out our Sora lookalike problem. Now maybe I'm overthinking this, but for some reason young Xehanort doesn't feel like he's truly done and gone just yet. He obviously knew what was going to happen to Sora, and he might have also known the truth about Quadratum. Maybe it's just his last words still lingering in my brain, but I'm gonna leave him in the game a little longer and place him in C tier. These last two in the organization category may or may not surprise you, but I am of the belief that both Braig and Vanitas will be crucial to the future of the series. Braig goes without saying because, as it was revealed, he is actually Luxu, the Master of Masters apprentice this entire time. But what about Vanitas? Well, this is where you can go and watch this video in the top right corner, assuming it's done already. And basically to summarize that, Vanitas is believed to be one of the original darknesses that we saw possess Ventus in Union Cross. So even though he's faded away in the end, we'll place him in the B tier and Luxu is going to be the first to go into our A tier. And with that, we can finally move on. Now, for this next category, I've decided to group everyone who was originally introduced in the Union Cross and Dark Road games together in order to get a lot of these characters out of the way faster, and what better way than to sandwich them in between the Guardians of Light and Organization 13. Let's start, of course, with the Foretellers and the Master of Masters, because obviously they're going to be important to this saga since it's been appropriately named the Lost Masters arc. Aced, Gula, Envy, and Ira seem to be following Luxu around because he is the apprentice of the Master of Masters himself and would almost likely be a new leader for them since the Master himself is nowhere to be seen. I don't believe any of them are necessarily evil, but they will also follow the orders of the Master no matter what, which is what I believe Luxu will play to his favor. Ava, of course, is missing from the group, gathered in the Keyblade graveyard, but of course she will also likely make an appearance in some way, shape, or form. Maybe on the side of good, and maybe we will finally see if she is really Kairi's grandmother or not. The Master of Masters is in Quadratum already, so he's in. Not much I want to say about him now, except he's easily one of the more interesting characters around, and everyone loves making theories about him, so let's just dump them all in the A tier. We know now by the end of Union Cross that Ephemer is solidified as the founder of Skala at Kylum, so he's a shoo-in for B tier at least. Skald is bound to be revealed as Subject X, or at least have some kind of significant role down the line, so she gets a B as well. Strelitzia, real or not, is already in the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer front and center, so she gets to go into A tier, and the same goes for Brain in the Missing Link trailer. A tier. Now, what about Dark Road? Vor, Erd, Hermond, Hoder, Vidar, Vala, Vali, Heimdall, Helgi, Sigrun, and Baldur have all sadly died in one way or another by the end of the game, but because, again, Quadratum is an afterlife, I'm going to make a bold take here and say none of these named characters are completely off the table yet. So for now, I'll be placing the whole lot of them in C tier. Master Odin, being a wizard, probably has been living for eternity this whole time in Yen Sid's basement or something, but I'm not convinced he's going to be playing any huge role in any of the currently announced upcoming games, so I'm just going to place him in C tier as well. Finally, we have the present-day Guardians of Light. I saved the best and trickiest category for last, so strap yourselves in because this is probably going to take the longest out of the whole video. Alright, let's start by addressing the major elephants in the room that are Terra and Aqua. In the Limit Cut episode, they're seen heading off into the Realm of Darkness to search for Sora with Ven, and a renewed sense of courage because this time they are going together as a little found family. But these two are, in my opinion at least, unfortunately not on the same level of importance as Ventus with what little knowledge we have about them and their current situations heading into Kingdom Hearts 4. Terra has taught everything he can to Riku, with the exception of the Keyblade armor trick apparently, and he's already completed his arc of making everything right, correcting his mistakes, and being forgiven by his loving master father figure. I'm positive he will make some kind of appearance just like any of the other Guardians of Light, but I'm also kind of sad to say that I think that he will be relegated to just a background character for the most part, and that's really hard for me to say because I love Terra, but that's just what we know about him now. Aqua is in a similar position, but not quite. We know that Kairi will be training with her, so maybe we'll get to see some of that, and maybe we'll even get to play as her in a tutorial or something. I know that you have a really soft spot for Aqua, Nomura, so please, I'm begging you, just make it happen. Give us that training. Don't do it off screen like you did with Kairi and Axel. With Merlin, I'm serious. Just take your unfinished Kingdom Hearts 4 script and make it happen. That being said, I'll place them both in C tier. And as for Ventus, he's a very, very different story. We can't just ignore the fact that he's been around since the Union Cross days, which means he's the only one here who's lived through 2 Keyblade Wars. He's got a connection to Vanitas, who's already very important as one of the original Darknesses, and I highly doubt Nomura is going to kick him out after setting him up on such a high pedestal. And we can't forget Chirithy. They will be just as important, and will likely be helping Ventus remember his past. They're both going in A tier. So yeah. Sadly, this is the highest placement I can possibly give two of my favorite characters. Xion and Roxas are among the ones to have received full closure by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. They fought to be their own persons, separate from Sora entirely, and came out victorious. They sat atop the clock tower for some well-deserved sea salt ice cream with their friends Xehanort, Pence, and Olette, and all's right in their world. So if it weren't for what Riku said in the Kingdom Hearts 3 Limit Cut episode, I'd say they were completely down for the count, but it seems that they are doing everything they can to help find Sora by searching through their memories. I'm both thankful that they're not completely done, but equally sad that they will probably be relegated to nothing more than some cutscenes like Xehanort, Pence, and Olette undoubtedly will. Or maybe not, a guy can dream. Now when it comes to our other friendly neighborhood nobody Namine, I've been thinking about putting her in D since her role in the series has long been finished, but there's just something that continues to bother me. Where does she get her powers from? There's nobody else quite like her in the entire series, and correct me if I'm wrong, but her abilities to control Sora's memories were never fully explained. She could have been a ghostwriter for the Book of Prophecies for all we know, so for now she's going into C tier right along with her friends. Man, it is just not looking good for the nobodies or the Sea Salt trio looking forward, huh? If only there was someone, anyone to take me out of this slump and show me that the Sea Salt trio will not all be turned into background characters like Dylan. But who could it be? Of course, Axel and Isa shall carry on into the unknown that is Quadratum. After all, they need to find this mysterious third person to complete their trio. Many theorize this to be the nameless star, and I'm inclined to agree with them. After all, it would just make sense with Axel representing the sun and Isa the moon. Stars are the only other thing up there in the sky with them, besides the countless worlds we will undoubtedly see more of in this next game. They're both going into A tier.
No one axes Axel. Got it memorized?
Now I'm going to keep this next part brief because I feel like everyone kind of already knows what's going on with the Destiny trio. Kairi and Riku's situations are pretty simple and clean. By the end of Melody of Memories, we saw the two of them go their separate ways, with Riku going to Quadratum via the power of waking, and Kairi unfortunately staying behind to train with Aqua because she was simply not ready. It goes without saying that these two are absolutely integral to Kingdom Hearts as a whole and Kingdom Hearts 4, as they are part of the main trio, but it's nice to have a refresher, right? Speaking of a refresher that no one needs if you've played the games, Sora and Yozora are of course both already in Quadratum. How their relationship will progress now that they both are, or how they'll reunite, is completely up in the air, but I personally cannot wait to find out. All four of them go into A tier easily. And that just about covers it. Who do you think is coming to Quadratum next? Who will be irrelevant, and who will become surprisingly important? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I've been Key, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.